Hey everybody, it's Golmadex, and welcome back to some more Magic Arena. Today we're going to be playing another premiere draft of Amonkhet Remastered. Without further ado, let's get into the pack one and pick one with a super sweet pack. I like Bone Picker and Labyrinth Guardian. Labyrinth Guardian I prefer a little bit. I like the Embalm cards where you get to play it twice, get a good 2-for-1 out of it, but our rare is great here with the Mouth to Feed, showing off the Aftermath mechanic. Very similar to Flashback, but you cast the front half from your hand and the second half from your graveyard, so very interesting take on Flashback where you get a different ability based on whether you cast it from your hand or your grave. And this one's a really nice one where by itself, you can just go 3 mana, 3/3 hippo, 4 mana, draw a card. That's like the absolute floor, the worst that the card can be. And you could draw quite a bit more cards off of the feed if you're a nice beefy green deck with a bunch of other big stuff like Shefet Monitor, which is pretty sweet. So pick two is another really excellent pack. Shefet Monitor and Sand Strangler are incredible uncommons here. Sand Strangler really being the super, super busted one, being a threat as well as removal at the same time. It's very easy to use all these desert cards. The deserts are good cards in general. They're all cycling lands you can run in your deck to make sure that you don't flood out. So this is a really, really consistent removal spell attached to a solid 3/3 body. So I like that a lot here. It's also a 3 power greater creature to go with our feed, so I think taking Sand Strangler going in that direction seems good. But Champion of Wits is also very, very good. 3 mana for a 2/1, you draw 2, discard 2, then you eternalize it for 7, but I'm a massive fan of Sand Strangler, so I'm going to lean on that instead. For pick number 3, no red spells out of the pack, and the green spells are incredibly mediocre. This pack's almost a complete miss for us. I mean, the best card is Consigned to Oblivion, really, towards blue-black, which is quite far from anything we're doing right now. Wall of Forgotten Pharaohs is probably the second best card. Spring to Mind is solid for a blue-green ramp deck. And really just that, but yeah, Bat, Feast, Wander in Death, Beneath the Sands, Life Goes On, Forsake the Worldly. There's a lot of just pretty much useless cards in the pack here. I guess Evolving Wilds is also okay. I'm just going to take the Wall of Forgotten Pharaohs. I'm already likely to draft Deserts quite highly with our Sand Strangler, if we can do that. And the nice thing about the Wall is no matter what colors we end up playing, we get to run that in there and ping some people. Pick 4 again, very, very early in the draft to just want to fully commit to green or red here when the only green or red options in the pack are super filler cards. Just like filler 2-drop creatures, the filler top end card. But there's not even anything off color to really speculate on. I guess Ipti Rivulets. Game goes long in blue. The games have not been going long for me though, if you've seen our last draft. So we'll just take Evolving Wilds here that we can shove in any deck for fixing. Pick number 5. More filler, cheap red creatures. None of these are particularly good. Honestly, a whole pack of filler again. I'll take the Gilded Ceradon as the best card if we play a lot of deserts. Pick 6. Could lock it on red with another Gilded Ceradon, but I can also speculate towards blue with the Enigma Drake. This is a somewhat late Aven Initiate. We also saw an Ipnu Rivulet, so blue could be a better, more open color than green based on what we've been seeing to pair with our solid red stuff. And I don't really like taking Sunscorched Desert. Yes, it's technically a desert to make your Sand Strangler and Ceradon better, but the way more consistent ones are the colored deserts. You can cycle and still get value out of the desert abilities. You can put them on the board and they actually give you the mana of whatever colors you're playing. Having to play completely colorless deserts to buff these cards is real rough, real mediocre. We have some decent fun cards for like green-red ramp. Vitalist and Sandworm are fine there, but not incredible. Aerial Guide is fine for blue-red non-credible. Sending our Sand Strangler and Ceradon into the sky could seem fun. A little early to know for sure which feels more open, but I felt slightly more inclined, more excited about the blue. I mean, I guess it's really hard to tell because now this pack, the best cards are the blue desert and the green desert, so it's like literally blue or green again. I guess now I'm 2 cards deep into blue, 1 into green. I think Enigma Drake is pretty comparably powerful to like Mouth to Feed. This is like a really good uncommon. It's not quite rare power level. And Enigma Drake is a really good uncommon, so there you have that. Another desert looks great with Strangler and Ceradon. This is pretty important, although I really do like Winds of Rebuke in a deck that has Enigma Drake in it. You get an instant in your grave no matter what, and you mill a couple more cards to fill the grave more. But we need deserts. Pick 10, another Evolving Wilds. I could speculate on a Sandworm here. It's not even that speculative. It's about as good as an aerial guide, and I don't think I want to run a million Evolving Wilds if I'm just a 2-color deck, so we'll actually take that. 2 cards deep to green. 2 cards in a desert to blue. Okay, make it 3 cards, because Sentinels is super late here. This pack's pretty bad. Cultivator, Super Filler, super slow. As is Beneath the Sands. I don't really want to count these as cards towards playing green. But since both of those fix, we could try to do all 3 colors, but that'd be pretty medium. Ooh, let's go. This deck is going to have some quality uncommons in it with double Sand Strangler. Very locked in on the red now. Pack 2, pick 2. It is funny to try to Ramanap Excavator all your deserts back when you're cycling them, but it's not particularly powerful or consistent or anything, so I'm not that excited about that. I am pretty excited about countervailing winds in a blue-red deck. We're going to be casting a lot of instants and sorceries, cycling some cheap cards, having enough stuff in grave that this can pretty much counter anything. Yeah, I think this should be really nice in a blue-red spells deck. And I think I'm going to try really forcing that at this point. And it looks like a good one to force, because pick 3, Commit to Memory. This card is super, super great. Definitely take it. Unquenchable Thirst, really nice removal spell in the format when you've got a lot of deserts to get the tap and stun thing going with it, so I like that here. The one thing it plays pretty poorly against, there's not a lot of ways to blow up enchantments, but if you're playing against a blue deck, there are a lot of ways to bounce a permanent. So they could bounce their creature and then just put it back in hand, recast it, have the Unquenchable Thirst fall off. So that's the matchup where it's worse, is when you're playing against another blue deck, but otherwise, pretty great. Pick 5. I don't think we're that aggressive to care too much about On-Crop Crasher, whereas Puncturing Blow is a great removal spell that adds to our sorcery count in grave. Pick 6. Sure, another desert here with Ipnu Rivulet. Add to that count towards the Stranglers, the Ceradon and stuff. Pick 7. Kenra Scrapper has been pretty annoying from our opponents, so I imagine it's pretty decent, but Strategic Planning actually really fills the grave with instants and sorceries there. 1 no matter what from casting it, plus you mill a little. I actually kind of like that plan on the Enigma Drake deck. Pick 8, Desert Ceradon, Find Filler. Windsor Rebuke is good with the Enigma Drake, and just as a bounce spell in general. Another Gilded Ceradon, sure. Dex looks pretty fine here. I just want some higher quality creatures to be able to cut some of the filler, like the double Firebrand Archer, the Ceradon. But overall, the deck looks pretty decent. Got a whole pack to make it better. All right, pack 3, pick 1. Great pack to open here. Just get a 4-mana 4/4 flying rare. Great card. Happy to shove it in here. Pack 3, pick 2. Very filler creatures, so we happily take another Desert. Desert of the Fervent. Pick 3. Fine filler creature, fine filler bounce spell. I guess I have a 1 of Evolving Wilds. I could play 1 Evolving Wilds, 1 Swamp, because I don't ever need to Oblivion. But being able to randomly do it now and then would make this better. It's pretty sick. Ooh. I hate that these are in the same pack. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. We're not wheeling Enigma Drake. By the time it comes back, like, it will have been in a pack with, like, a Pouncing Cheetah, an Ancient Crab, and a Jeru's Resolve. Like, somebody would just draft it for their collection or hate draft it at that point. There's so many bad cards in here. We can't wheel this even if we're the only blue-red player, so I have to kind of take it here. But Sweltering Suns, I think, would also be genuinely good in this deck. We're on a lower creature count. We'd like this against the more aggressive decks. But Enigma Drake is just straight perfect, as is Countervailing Winds. Winds Rebuke also pretty good. But I'm going to take more counters here. Another Countervailing Winds. Join the party. Let's go. More instants, more sorceries. Here's another one. Hieroglyphic Illumination. Really easy to end up in the grave. Cycle for 1. Early game. I don't think I'm playing Slitherblade, but I'm definitely not playing Crypt of Eternals. I'm going to play a Nimbleblade Kenra. I'll play that over the Firebrands. Pick 10 is some booty. Rare draft. An uncommon. Take a Flood Waters. That's honestly not horrible. We can cycle literally to put another instant or sorcery engraver. We can use it as the finisher, getting a couple blockers out of the way for the Drake to get the kill. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 lands. Yeah, this is 23 non-lands, which I think is where we want to be. I mean, 3 of our lands can cycle away, which helps us not flood out. Yeah, we want to run every instant or sorcery. Don't cut any of those. We want to run a single swamp in here. Is Claim to Fame playable if we're actually running a single swamp? No, that still does like nothing in this deck. Throw the 24th playable into the sideboard. And rare draft for Vault Progress. And we have a deck. These are our 23 non-land spells. I'm just going to shove one swamp in here, a bunch of islands, mountains, and hop right into the gameplay. Alright, here we are on the play for game 1. Try to get some good damage off with this Enigma Drake. This should be a fun one. I've got the desert if I draw anything that cares about those. Could cycle this Illumination immediately to have something engraved for the Drake, but I really would not mind drawing a couple cards instead of just the one later. Playing against blue-white, they start with an Anointer Priest, so they're gaining a life as they're embalming their cards and getting mummy tokens onto the board. Here's our nice 0/4 Enigma Drake. Natural Bant from our opponent, blue, white, and green. They got impeccable timing in Enigma Drake. Drake's not going to be good for quite a while, so just getting rid of some removal spell that could hit Curator feels nice. And that was a removal spell that could absolutely hit Curator. Just destroys any attacking or blocking creature. Card is very good in blue-white, because then you get to also recast Market, draw 2 and discard 2. Aven Initiate. Alright, I've got an attack into that, which is nice. And then if they are going to try to double block or use some kind of combat trick or something, I've got the Ceradon with the Desert out to shut that off. They've got 5 mana up now, double blue, double white, and a green. Unquenchable Thirst on the Curator, fair enough. Send in the Initiates. Still winning the race with the Ceradon. Another farm to market. It's quality there. Countervailing Winds is technically too expensive, so I guess it doesn't even matter if I draw into it. I just hit a bunch of mana. Well, here's our wall, and I can cycle this desert, luckily. Market, draw 2, discard 2. Alright, we take a few damage in the sky, they drop Stalwart, and we keep flooding. Do get to scry one, then draw here. I'm not going to play Evolving Wilds first because I could hit like a 5-drop here. Quenchable Thirst is the pickup. Alright, well we use that on the Aven Initiate. That's pretty decent. Okay. There's the 3/3, right? Oh, it can't be blocked. Increases power to or less. Sure. So I can't block it. Off the Exert. This is kind of how the format has treated me this time around. There's Nissa. Is there even a point in pinging her? A -6. I guess I can slow down the -6. It's not horrendous, because now I can recast my Curator. Don't have the mana to do it this turn, though.
When the land speaks, I shall listen.
Draw 2, discard 2. Discard Island and Winter Priest. And draw Bowcatcher's Avenger. Ping to keep them off the ult. Cast the Curator, scry 1, draw 1. Guess I keep the 6/4. Another scry 2. Both to the bottom. Trial of Solidarity. That is big damage here. I have no good blocks for that. Getting out-trialed again. Trial cartouche value is insane. But I think we had basically no opportunities to pick up trials in this draft pod today. Maybe like pack 1, pick 1 or 2 or something. It's literally lethal on board if I don't chump with wall. It's insane. They just recast it and do it all again. Force me into chump, chump, or die. I can't attack Nissa, which means they just get the ult the Nissa and kill me. Right, if I attack Nissa, I die to them trialing and attacking with these two. Because I die in the sky. Yeah, they kill me no matter how I play it out. Alright, here we are on the play for game number 2. I'm gonna have to cycle a Countervailing Winds turn 2 for sure, so that there's something in the graveyard for the next one to actually do something. Yep, Wayward Servant. I don't have a turn 3 play, so we cycle a Winds to be able to Countervailing Winds their next play. as our turn 3 play, or I'll top deck 2 different turn 3 plays to punish me for cycling my counterspell. That's the way of life. Marauding Bone Slasher. Already got the Drake up on blocks though. Here's Sand Strangler for huge value. Yes, I would like to damage that card, thank you. Binding Mummy. They are black-white, that is where all the mummies are, so. Now, every time they play basically any creature in their deck, they tap 2 of ours, because they've got double Binding Mummy here. Pretty gross. I do not have the mana to double spell here, which is awkward. Puncturing Blow a Mummy and attack with Strangler, because there's no way it's blocking anyway. Then, if I hit a land, I can play a creature and have Countervailing Winds up next turn. Miasmic Mummy, sure. I think I keep the 3 toughness blocker here. Against multiple 2/2s. Down to 11. We missed our land off the top, but I can play 2 blockers here. Or I could just go wall, hold up Countervailing Winds. Not threaten to kill any of their attackers this way, but I can keep them from casting something super deadly like a Trial. Gravedigger's bad enough. Taps my blocker, picks something up from grave. Down to 7. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 7 damage to them here. If I Winds of Rebuke and mill an instant or sorcery, I think I kill them. I milled no instants or sorceries, so they're not dead here, but they're really close. They're at 2 life. Binding Mummy. Miasmic Mummy, tap 1 blocker, and then they die. And that's game. We are 1-1 heading to game 3. Alright, here we are on the play for game number 3. This is a risky keep considering the lack of red, but if we can cycle our way into it with our Floodwaters here, we have Enigma Drake into Sand Strangler, which is just probably the 2 strongest cards in our deck, especially to curve out with them in sequence. So let's see what we get here. Winds of Rebuke also playing exceptionally well with the Drake. Opponents on black, they start with Festering Mummy. I'll hold up the Rebuke, but I'm likely to just cycle a Floodwaters here. If they try to, like, put the Flying Cartouche on the Mummy, I can bounce it, and then they don't get to even draw the card off the Cartouche. So there is, like, a corner case where I'd want to Rebuke here. Alright, Floodwaters it is. Cycle that, and find another Enigma Drake. There's the red source, but it is tapped. That's fine. Now I can just Rebuke this turn. Get that grave nice and full for our Enigma Drakes. I can Sand Strangler the turn after this. Feels like it's going to be a nice position here. Slowed them down a lot with Winds of Rebuke into Sand Strangler. We milled their Scarab God. This is one of the least beatable draft mythics of all time. It is in the, basically like the Draft Hall of Fame deadliest rares, deadliest bomb rares. So, pretty happy they don't get to play it until they draw some kind of graveyard recursion, which they could have in a black deck. So we're really hoping to outrace them while they're stuck on mana here. They're still on 2 lands only. So hopefully our Enigma Drakes can get a ton of damage in before they get to the 5 mana they would need to recast it if they pick it up sometime earlier. Doomed Dissenter, sure. They can double block, kill the Sandstringler by putting a -1/-1 counter on it. And they also get a zombie in that exchange. So I'm just going to keep Sandstringler around to keep blocking on the ground and slowing them down. But I am going to start beating down. Well, I was going to start beating down with Enigma Drakes, but a lot more mana efficient to get the Gilded Ceradon down this turn, which might be able to get relevant attacks in on the ground by shutting off one of the 2 blockers, and I can like send both in. Another Festering Mummy. And an Eternal of Harsh Truths. Pretty happy I was mana efficient because now I can double Enigma Drake this turn, which is wild. Yeah, now I don't care too much if one of these trades into 2 of those cards. I mean, they could triple block Ceradon, I guess. Which might be their best play because Ceradon's ability is really, really good here. But they are just going to kill the Sandstrangler, fair enough. Nullify the Ceradon a little bit. Alright. It's draking time. Cycle an Unburden, drop an Eternal. I will definitely cast this Illumination for another instant engrave before I attack. Aerial Guide for the turn, sure. That's going to be insane with the Ceradon out here. Are they going to Scarab Feast here or something? It's such a narrow card, but it is good against this deck. It's a frustratingly small amount of damage. I mean, the fact that it has Cyclone means it is very main deckable. Wrong thing. It doesn't matter what I target with that. Everybody's in the sky. I think they're dead next turn. 1, 2, 3, 4 plus 6, 10. They're 1 damage off from dead. I should have blocked Eternal. I forgot that drew them cards. Oh, they're dead. Countervailing Winds, I can cycle that. And up my power. There we go. 2 and 1, heading into game number 4. Alright, here we are for game number 4. We're 2 and 1 right now. Got Unquenchable Thirst on their first threat, but I don't actually have the desert for it, so I have to wait till it's tapped. I can Countervailing Wind something since I have Evolving Wilds in the hand. That is guaranteed to be the counter unless they pay 1 at least. I might consign early just to make countervailing winds even more castable. And I don't mind consigning a mana dork. Slowing them down that way. Nimble Blade Kenra. Let's counter the mana dork and then go Kenra Thirst next turn, maybe. I mean, I guess I wouldn't Thirst, but Kenra next turn. Alright, they go tap land, poke for 1. Here's Kenra. Even a 0-2 prowess is like somewhat relevant, so I wouldn't mind blocking Mummy here. Brawler, Cultivator. I got 3 cards over there. I'm just gonna cash an Oblivion here. This gives them a good opportunity to slam in with the Brawler and then let me thirst that. They discarded a Sifter Worm and a Cartouche of Ambition. Alright, incredible deal from Consigned to Oblivion, but also, I'm terrified what the third card in their hand is if they discarded these two. Sure, you can be a 0-2 Kenra. Probably scared enough to hold on to Unquenchable Thirst for now. Rather than just throwing it at the Hooded Brawler. What is it? Bitterbow Sharpshooters. Vigilant. It'd be really bad if I don't draw a desert then. Gotta find one of my deserts, and I gotta find it quick. I think I have 4 in this deck. Yes. 2 red deserts and 2 blue deserts. There's the 4/5 Great Maw too, is this problem. I guess I can go Ceradon for Sharpshooters, Unquenchable Thirst the 4/5. And just take a hit from Brawler every other turn. For now. That would have been good earlier. I do have 4 cards in grave, so it could still be relevant. Not super relevant, but usable at least. Do I have anything that lets me discard a card, draw a card? I think I do, but I could be going insane. I actually don't, so I should play this island. Unless they have something that makes me discard. If they're running Miasmic Mummies, I guess. No attack with Great Maw. Okay. Well, this is a pass. Attack with both. This is pretty significant damage here. But it's just a complete chump if I block. I don't think we block. I'm at 4. Okay, I got perfect mana for that. If they draw anything that costs 4 or less, I can't even Countervailing Winds it in the first place, so I'm going to tap out of Countervailing Winds. That cost 4 or less, so I couldn't countervailing winds it. Come on, red source 2, so I can puncture the Great Maw and then have an even bigger countervailing winds up. Enigma is not horrific. It's surprisingly small for how late the game is right now, but not horrific. It's only counter unless they pay 4. Dissenter definitely resolves. Okay, they're down to a Doom Dissenter. Big blocker has arrived. Quarry Hauler, just a 4-3. Still no deserts. Not a Sand Strangler then. Just trade Ceradon into the 4-3. Waiting for the desert for this to 2-for-1 in our favor. Second red's definitely good. That makes me safe enough to start chipping in with 1 flyer every turn now. Yeah, there's the removal, but I still block one of the 1-power creatures. So no attacks. There's the desert. Sick. So Sand Strangler goes ham. They do get to draw a card off this play, but it's fine. Got enough life to send in. Just take 1 on the crackback if they blow up Sand Strangler. Winds of Rebuke is great. They're down to 6. One more turn for them to find a way to kill Aerial Guide. Or they're dead. Sand Strangler does shoot creatures only, which is worth mentioning. I can't Rebuke Strangler and shoot them with it. Cycle the Monitor. I guess because if they cast it, they just die to the flyer, so they try to draw a card to kill the flyer instead. Resilient Kenra. And there's the concession. Okay. Get there with flyers in the long run, even if they're not the Enigma Drake. They're the Aerial Guide stuff. Kind of goofy. But we'll take it. I believe we're 3-1 this time around. Alright. Was incredibly disappointed with how the gameplay started in this draft, because Obviously, the last draft I recorded, the one that you all watched yesterday, the one I recorded probably 40 minutes ago right now, was the O3. So I thought I just got like two O3s in a row potentially, starting off with a loss immediately. I was like, oh, it's just going to be terrible. But here we are. We've turned it right back around, and now we have a positive record in Amonkhet almost no matter what. I think I only need like one or two more wins because the first draft was like a 6 winner or something. I don't remember, 5 or 6. So 5-3 into 0-3 into like 4-3 or 5-3, I think is a perfectly average record on Amonkhet for the return trip. So solid turnaround from the first loss here. And now we are on a 3-win streak. We'll see if we can't keep that up as we head into game number 5. Here we are for game 5. Pretty bad mana in the opener. I can cycle Ceradon and Countervailing Winds towards blue, though. And the spells are pretty good, but there's no proactive plays either. I think there's a little too much risk for not enough reward in that hand, and I will take the mulligan on it. And this one is much better. It's the classic Enigma Drake into Sand Strangler. Fantastic start that we want to have with this deck. Playing against another red deck. Draw Winds of Rebuke, which is very good with our Enigma Drake as well. It's got me pretty excited. Be happy to curve out 2, 3, 4. Maybe even have the Floodwaters on 6 here. Yeah, we could go 2, 3, 4, Countervailing on 5, Floodwaters on 6. If I keep hitting lands, that'll be the plan here. I'm going to take the 2 from Initiate, and then Winds of Rebuke, whatever their most expensive creature is at the end of this turn, because they might play like the 3 mana 3/3 Trampler or something to bounce instead. Or it's another Initiate, in which case I bounce the first one and take 0 this turn. Come on, instant into my graveyard. Instant land. Alright, not bad. Still milled 1. Oof, drawn to the Curator Mysteries. It's a good card, but we're definitely in the market for more mana here with a powerful 4 and 6 drop in the hand. There's the 3/3 I was expecting to bounce, but they missed a land drop for it last turn, so not happening. Can Sand Strangler very soon. I'll probably be cycling Floodwaters at this point with 3 really powerful 4-mana spells, but I think it is better to hold up Countervailing Winds than to cycle at sorcery speed. It's okay if I miss my land drop this turn as long as I hit the 4th land next turn, so if they don't play anything I need to Countervailing Winds, I can cycle Floodwaters and Curator, which honestly is probably worth it, but obviously we cycle Floodwaters first, and if that immediately finds the land, then I am not cycling Curator. But with 2 Sand Stranglers in hand, if cycling Floodwaters doesn't hit the mana, I think I should probably cycle Curator as well. Kenra Scrapper. Menace has been a massive issue for me many times in this format. I'm going to go ahead and counter that. Also makes the Drake big enough they can't attack in well here. Got the 3/4 blocker up. Unless they have the 1 mana +2/+2 trick, I suppose. Which they do not. They don't attack, and we naturally drew land 4. Super lucky, and now we're just in an incredible position, because we get to roll out with 2 Sand Stranglers in a row, clearing out one of their creatures each time, getting our damage in the sky. This has been, I think, our best draw of the day. I mean, we did miss 1 land drop somewhere in there, but Drake double Sand Strangler is nasty. Okay, they got Trial of Zeal, so they're gonna have their own 2-for-1 value removal to try to counteract ours here. I'm just gonna go all in the sky now. Trial's not big enough to kill either of these if they do bounce it back. With the red cartouche. Bitterbow Sharpshooters. Alright, well I gotta deal with that. If I hit a land for Floodwaters, that is incredible here. So am I playing towards that? Or do I just trade 1 flyer off and cycle the Floodwaters? Scry 1, draw 1. I can cycle Floodwaters, scry 1, draw 1, and also play Ekma Sentinels here. Probably do actually trade. No blocks. I'm very fine with that. Actually, I'm just not even going to cycle then. At that point. I did have 1,000,000 mana open. So a lot could have went wrong for them, since they don't know what's in my hand. Floodwater's mana would have been the kill. We attack all in again and just play a wall. Start going for lethal with that thing. Okay. Cycle the desert to keep Heckma Sentinels on board. Kill these without even losing it. Seems fine. Have I played land for turn? If not, then that was an incredible sequence for us of draws here. Oh wow, yeah, I still get to play the wall too. Very, very good draws off the Curator Scries. There's the Cartouche to clear out our other flyer. And pick up the Trial Zeal. That's pretty nasty. Trial cannot kill our wall though, and the wall kills them in 3 swings. Well, 3 taps. It doesn't actually swing in. It's a wall. Each player shuffles the grave back. There's an Ipnu Rivulet, which doesn't do anything. Let's have Sentinels trade up into Sharpshooters. They are forced to block here. And we're doing this so that we are less likely to randomly die to their stuff. Make it more likely that our wall can get the kill in a few turns. Do your thing, wall. Okay, if I untap with it one more turn, they're dead. This is the last chance to kill it, and they didn't find removal. That is 4-1 now, guaranteed a positive record out of this draft. Great turnaround from our last low 3 draft there. Heading into game number 6 now. Ooh, and we got a Mythic Archangel of Tithes from Outlaws of Thunder Junction. Well, this is an interesting change from last game, where it took us quite a while to find one of our deserts. Now we've got the majority of them in our opening hand, so we're going to be playing quite off curve. Never mind. I'm still going to play the tap land first here, since I could go on tap land and wall right now. I'll start with Heckma Sentinels, the most aggressive early play. I think that's the most important one to get on curve here. Boom. Blue, white, and green. They have still cast nothing. I believe I'm going to play a Desert of the Fervent, so I have my second red for Puncturing Blow, and then I'll just put the wall down and start getting pings off with that. Three-one flyer, sure. Big enough deal, I'll have to puncture that. Aven Initiate as well. Alright, well, we'll puncture the Aven Initiate, because that one Comes back from grave. It's also slightly bigger. Obstructionist has like cycling abilities and stuff, but once it hits the board, it doesn't do anything else. It's just a 3/1 flyer. Hooded Brawler, hello there. Cards in grave, 1. I can Winds of Rebuke pre-countervailing winds though, and then it's really good. Would I rather strategic planning right now, or winds plus winds? Winds of Rebuke plus countervailing winds. I think I really want to be affecting the board right now, so I'm going to hold up. I'm going to go winds plus winds. I actually drew every desert in the deck now, I think. The Rivulet, the 2 red deserts, the blue desert. Gonna pass with 1,000,000 open mana. Alright, take that Hooded Brawler back, please. Oh, I milled another countervailing winds. That's kind of tragic. They got some weird flash spell here. Again, I think I'm playing to the board, so we're going to cast Aerial Guide and hold up countervailing winds. I have counter unless they pay 4 now. Aerial Guide can trade into Obstructionist. Okay. Illumination, draw 2, sure. Doesn't impact the board, I'm cool with it for now. Very good wins target. Counter the lake claim. That would have been game pretty much. They get a second flyer onto their board and clear out mine. So this digs 2 cards deep for something good. This digs 3 cards deep, but I only get to have 1 of them. I think I'm digging 3 cards deep here. Oh yeah. That is sick. Come on out, Sand Strangler. We are in an incredible position here. Sand Strangler MVP of the deck every single game. They're down to 5. They're dead in 1 more swing. There's the Brawler. They do have a lot of cards in hand here, so they can likely play enough stuff to not die this turn. Yeah, Brawler with flying to block whatever I send into the sky with the Aerial Guide. Companion on the ground. One creature gets in for at least 2 damage, which doesn't quite kill them, but it gets really close. I guess because I can cycle Illumination, it does kill them. Never mind, it actually doesn't. But it makes the attack really good. Like, there's no way that we can have Heckma Sentinels be the unblocked creature here. There's no way to line it up to where that'll happen. But by cycling, I still kill their whole board and put them to 1 this turn. GG from opponent. Play a land, they just flooding. They're just flooding. That is 5-1 now. We are in the money wherever this draft goes from here, heading into round number 7. All right, here we are for game a lot. Great record no matter what happens. John, all 3 tap lands in the entire deck again. 2 games in a row, every single tap land. I mean, it's not bad because we've got the deserts for Strangler and Ceradon. I mean, it is bad that every land is tapped, but there's like a slight benefit to it, but it's just kind of crazy it happened twice in a row. I played this desert first so I could cycle Ceradon. But since I immediately top-decked land 4, that feels less relevant. I guess I don't have a 3-drop to play. I probably should still cycle this so I can countervailing winds. No, if I don't hit another untapped land, I'm going to want to play the desert tapped so I can play Sand Strangler rather than countervailing winds. I just don't think Ceradon's likely to be particularly good anyway. Okay, I did hit an untapped land. Cool. So I can countervailing winds and Sand Strangler next turn. They get some good value off Eternal of Harsh Truths. They draw a card off of it before I kill it. But then I get decent value where I kill it and leave behind a 3/3. Can't countervailing that. Oh my god, it's 4 toughness. That's actively terrible. I have 3 bounce spells in the deck that are really good against that. So do I strategic planning towards that now, since Strangler's basically irrelevant on the board? I might cycle this desert towards it at least for sure. Come on, any bounce spell. We got 3 different ways to bounce that back to their hand. Oh, we have 4. I forgot about commit to memory. Okay, that works. I think I commit while they're tapped out. Even if they have a really good spell to cast, they're gonna wait till after combat anyway, so they'll just declare the attack with it and I'll have to commit then against a bunch of open mana. And then they'll just cast the good spell main phase 2 when I already tapped out.
I'm always a step ahead. Think fast.
Well, I can't just sit here and hold up counter spells against an active Jace. I need to try to play something to attack it and get it off the board. Oh my god, I could just bounce things too. Again, I don't think we had any chance this game, because if I just tried to play to always have the counter up, I'm just letting Eternal of Harsh Truths draw them an extra card every single turn. Like, that's not the right way to play it out. You just kind of get domed to them having a Planeswalker, because this set was before everything deals damage to Planeswalkers too. If Puncturing Blow were a modern card, it would be 5 to a creature Planeswalker, and we'd be fine here, but it's not, so we just lose. Probably. We just probably lose. Should preface that. I never say probably, but I basically always mean it. When I say we just lose, I just mean we're very much in the losing position currently. Winds of Rebuke, hold up. Double countervailing is a shot. They are so far ahead in cards right now, though. Drawn an extra off of Eternal. They've drawn an extra off Jace. They get to draw another extra this turn. Yep.
I think I know what to do.
If we win this game, our deck is actually goated. And if we lose this game, then every loss today was to Planeswalkers. Dyed Nissa into Dyed Jace would be kind of hilarious. Pretty tragic, but also pretty funny, so at least there's that. If they have their own countervailing winds, I'm doomed. Because I Winds of Rebuke to put Jace in their hand. They could just countervailing winds my countervailing winds. And I don't have the mana to cast a second one. So I could let Jace stick around for a turn here to try to draw into a land to double countervailing, but I have to hit exactly a land for that to play well. If I sit here and don't bounce Jace and then also just don't hit the land to double countervailing, we're just falling further and further behind. I guess what I can do is like Ceradon here, right? Like if they have the countervailing, that draws it out of their hand for me to go Rebuke Winds it next turn. That was quite the pause from our opponent. Go for the Winds of Rebuke here. Oh, I can't counter. I just have my own winds. Okay. Feel like they have a counter spell. But they're thinking on the stack here. But I don't know. Let's hopefully top deck a basic so that I am safe to deal with Jace. Through a counter spell too.
I know who I am.
They have another threat now. That is so bad for me. Because now even if I deal with Jace, I start dying to the 6/5. I've got the Puncturing Blow for that. Come on, basic land. Come on, basic land. Come on, basic land. Come on, basic land. Yes. Okay. Ooh, I milled Oblivion. It's kind of sick. Alright, let's start dying to the 6/5. I take 7 a turn. I die really fast. Because Edifice is active too. Oh wow, this is terrible. I have 11 cards in grave. I have to try to counter that. Okay. Cast the Jace. The counterspell's out of the way, right? That was as good as that turn could have gone for us. Okay. 9 life against the wall is still going to be rough here. I definitely do not have a choice but to puncture this monitor. One mana off from doing this and Oblivioning, which would be so good. I have no way to double spell. Yeah, I'm at 9 life. I have to just kill Monitor. I badly want to Oblivion them here. But at 9 life, there's no chance. That's the right play. Okay, Hash Up Oasis is terrifying. They can attack with something as a 5/5 now. They get something +3/+3. A second wall, too? Wall of Forgotten Pharaohs, Secret Mythic Common. I remain exactly 1 mana off from greatness. I'm dying to these walls so fast. Even if I double bounce them, that saves me 1 turn of a ping too. I'm surprised they let me go to combat here. They have a 2-drop in their hand. That's why I just like cast Ceradon main phase 1 and did it lazy. It's like they have the edifice on the board. I don't think I have the play of like try to attack with Strangler and then Strangler wall, but I guess I did. Because they just forgot, or they have a 2-mana instant in hand. Ah. Ripperoo. Will they claim the Gilded Ceradon? Start attacking it unblockably. Start shutting off blockers to super dead next turn. Well, I do get to Floodwaters back my own Ceradon, but I'm dead to the walls. Off of this 3 damage from not having my blocker up. Yeah, I go to 2. They just untap and kill me with the walls that I die. I can't Floodwaters enough stuff to not die. Because I'd have to hit the 2 walls so that those don't ping kill me, but then I died all these. Well, we're undefeated against non-Planeswalker decks, so fingers crossed we can dodge them in the future games. We are 5-2, heading into game number 8. Another mono red hand here. This hand is so good if I hit blue, but I'm already on the draw on the back foot here. I have 1 Kenra to play. I do have a desert and a countervailing winds to cycle. I'm gonna keep. Two countervailing winds to cycle means I think I'm playing this desert out. Let's go. The hand is incredible. Never doubted it for 1 second. Scatter my Kenra. I'm way happier with that than scattering the Drake. You got it. Kenra Scrapper. I'm very not happy with that. I keep dying to that stupid thing. Just trying to think up with something clever. Or come up with something clever. Keep dying to the stupid dog. I don't know. Well, they're tapped out from countering. Oops. I accidentally started playing a Tolarian Community College video in the background. Don't worry about it. Keep all your mana up. Joke's on you. 2 could play at that game. I have nothing to cast at sorcery speed. I'm just getting eaten alive by Kenra Scrapper again. This card's secretly the greatest common in the whole set. No, Wall of Forgotten Pharaohs maintains that record. Countervail me. Oh no. So tragic. Goodbye, Scrapper. Now I am the Scrapper. Scrapping in for damage. Hit for 2, they're down to 18. Cycle countervailing winds, you love to see that. Put that straight in the garbage, please. Unquenchable Thirst, Enigma Drake, sure. Got my Ceradon, and they don't have counter magic up. We've been drawing straight gas here. Pretty much exactly what we've wanted to hit. They counter the removal for their Jackal. Well, I'll draw the second removal spell. They deal with my current threat. Well, I'll draw another threat. Okay, the Desert Ceradon outraces the Gilded Ceradon, so I have to trade here. But I can trade into that, counter whatever else they do. I'm the first person to draw on the top deck war, so I should be very, very slightly favored. Strategic planning is an excellent draw. Milling all these is kind of sad. Okay, countervailing is counter unless they pay 8, so I'm going to wait till I can cast this and hold it up, because that is really, really good. Yep, I'm pretty happy I waited. Get rid of Enigma Drake. Ooh. Curator feels a little better than Gilded Ceradon, not like a ton. They're very comparable here on the empty board, but I'll go for the flyer. Trial of Zeal, double removal me. Trial of Zeal plus Magma Spray, sure. Get the 2-for-1. It's not the worst 2-for-1 in the world for them, because Trial of Zeal is the kind of card they can get back later easily. Cycle a Censor. Play an island. We're jamming for a turn, let's go. Consign to Oblivion is beautiful. If New Rivulet is not bad. There's a Magma Roth. Consign that to Oblivion. Oh, we milled a Drakehaven? There another Drakehaven deck? Sorry, Countervailing Winds, but I'm basically casting Countervailing Winds by Oblivioning this Magma Roth, because I would have to counter that anyway. And I have to discard preemptively. They're not going to have anything stuck in their hand next turn. Cycle Desert the Fervent. Cycle Censor. Cast a Riddle Form. Doesn't do anything until they cast another instant or sorcery, so we get to keep jamming for 4. I've got Winds of Rebuke, Countervailing Winds. This feels super, super safe, super stable. Ooh, they do get to scry off Riddle Form. That is relevant. Striped Rivy Winder. I will counter that to get my damage in. Put them to 2. Play another threat, so even if they play a blocker, they're dead. And there's the concession from our opponent. We are 6-2. We've made it all the way to the final boss this time around. Can we get a trophy run in Amonkhet Remastered before we move on to Tarkir Dragonstorm? That would be super, super sweet. And this might be the final draft, depending on when the early access event ends up being. So we'll see. Or if the early access event ends up happening. They still haven't officially announced anything yet, so I don't know what's going on either. So we'll see. This could be our final Amonkhet Remastered Premier Draft this time around, so it'd be pretty sick to end it with an absolute bang. We are heading into the final battle. This is the final game of Magic here. Win or lose with all the marbles on the table. All the money's on the line. All right, here we are for the final game of Magic, win or lose. We have the Desert for Unquenchable Thirst to be early removal. We have the Strategic Planning to find a threat. And we got a Winds of Rebuke to slow them down. This is a fine opener, but that is an incredible rare. Unquenchable Thirst doesn't stop any abilities. So we have problems here. Also, it's a pretty bad matchup for Winds of Rebuke. We could randomly mill another Embalm card. So I guess right now it's just a 2-2, dealing a couple damage. We can just try to Heckma Sentinels block it for now. There we go. Puncturing Blow is exactly the kind of thing we need here. Exile this, don't worry about it embalming and making more unblockable attacks. Alright, really great start from our opponent, but we have the solution to that first play coming up. Sunset Pyramid, very good value play. So they're going to be way ahead in cards. Let's get the Sentinels down. Hold the damage off us next turn. Cartouche of Knowledge, sure. Still can Puncturing Blow that, but they will get the damage in here. Is there something that can save it for at instant speed and white? Nope, they're going to draw a card. With Sunset Pyramid. Let's poke for 2. They're not going to have hasters in their color pair. I'm just going to have a random 6/4 doofus. Top of the curve here. Ooh, that's a much better random doofus. Vizier of Deferment. Slow the attack down, sure. Here's Ceradon now that they're tapped out of Countervailing Winds. They could have Censor, but that's an uncommon, so it's way less likely. Ceradon resolves. Sacred Cat. They just have a bunch of mana up here. I like attacking in with everybody because we're going to have Winds of Rebuke held up. That's a pretty great trick here. If they try to do anything bad for me. I'm going to shut off the Sacred Cat because it's the better trumper. Mighty Leap. Okay. If I bounce it, they get to exile again. This is actually awkward how Winds plays against Vizier. I think we just take the trade here. When I bounce it back, they recast it, exile Ceradon for a turn, but I keep Ceradon. Is that better? Okay, that actually probably is better. Because it does come back. Well, they're not going to cast Vizier. Okay. I guess I still get the 2 damage in. Yeah, I guess the best play would have been just Winsing in response to the Mighty Leap, but my brain was still going through circles there about like how bad is this. Vizier of the Anointed is insanely bad. One of the best uncommons in the format. It shoves any Eternalize or Embalm card into your graveyard, then every time that you Eternalize or Embalm, you draw a card, so it's just massive amounts of value. Ooh. 7 cards in grave? Yeah, Countervailing Winds is good. Alright, so they have no blocks, we just Countervailing Winds. I really want to put a 6/4 on this board, though. And I'm not doing that if I Countervailing Winds this turn. I mean, what, they just play a Vizier and still take 2? That's probably fine, honestly. Yeah, I'm getting the 6-4 down. I want to get into like a good unquenchable thirst swing, and that'll be huge with Ceradon out too. Let's see if we can't hit our own mythic uncommon. Get our Sand Strangler to clear the Vizier of Deferment off this board pre-combat. That would be a massive, massive swing. Alright, pass through the turn. Let's go for the big Ceradon swing out this turn. The double Ceradon's getting in. I should play my land this turn so that we have Rivulet plus Countervailing Winds up. I think they're full AFK. Alright, they just full AFK'd out of it. I guess something came up. That was definitely not like an incredible position for us or anything, so it definitely wasn't like a rage quit or anything like that. Or an intentional quit. Something must have come up or arena crashed or something, so kind of anticlimactic ending, unfortunately, but it is very nice to actually get a trophy run here, even if it was just by our opponent disappearing here in the end. I actually think we were still definitely a bit behind here this game. Even though we have the better board that can easily push damage in, they've got a lot of cards here and a lot of card advantage from that Priest plus Vizier. So I imagine they definitely could have grinded out and found a win here. Slightly more likely than we were to get the kill soon, so kind of lucky they randomly disappeared, but also kind of anticlimactic. But we'll take it. We get a 7th win. We get a trophy run to top off these Amonkhet Remastered Premier drafts. That is a 7-2 run. After we lost the very first game, after going 0-3 in the last draft, I was on a 4-loss streak before this draft started, and now we've got a 7-2 run. So I will absolutely take it. Pretty happy with that. I don't think that this deck is perfect, but it's a pretty strong looking blue-red spells deck. The perfect build here ideally would have had red be a little bit more open. This was another one of the draft pods like we've had almost every single draft where blue was tremendously open, but the second color we did a little bit of bouncing here. Took these Sand Stranglers really early. They are incredibly powerful. Happy I did. Took the Blow and the Ceradons somewhat early, and the Enigma Drakes. One of them was, I think, slightly late that got us to blue-red. But I think all that was like really good stuff. But like Desert, Ceradon, the big 6-mana one's pretty filler. The Floodwaters, even with some of that like cycling synergy, wasn't the greatest. Pretty fine with the Consigned to Oblivion Splash. I think that was still pretty good. But say we swap out these two for a couple Magma Sprays or Open Fires or something. Some cheap red instant and sorcery kind of burn spells to clear out little creatures. That would be pretty perfect. Like, yeah, I mean, cut these two, run 2 Magma Spray, and I'm like, yeah, this deck is great. Maybe not perfect still. I mean, it's still got like Heckma Sentinels being a little filler here too, and Kenra being a little filler, but I like where they fit on the curve, and certainly not a bad deck at all. Got us the full 7-win run this time around. That is going to be 2,200 gems and 6 packs of Amonkhet Remastered for our prize out today. But that is going to end today's video. As always, I'd like to thank my patrons and YouTube members for their support, as well as you for watching the video. If you enjoyed it and are interested in seeing some more, you can always like, comment, and subscribe to tell the YouTube algorithm to send you some more on your recommended feed. If you'd like to catch me live, you can check out the Twitch channel in the link in the description below. And if you'd like to support the channel directly, you can check out the Patreon link in the description below. But other than that, as always, thank you very much for watching, and I'll see you again soon for some more Magic Arena.